Hello, I'm June Edwards, and this is a meeting for Senior Topics. And I want to welcome all of you to the meeting. And it's almost near the end of summer, you guys. I can't believe it, but the first week of fall is coming up very, very shortly. Let's go over the calendar now for the first week of September and see what kind of activities are going on. First of all, on the 1st of September, Labor Day officially, but now we always do it the first Monday of the month. So today is the 31st, so then Labor Day is coming up this next weekend because it's always the first Monday of September. So the first day World War II began when Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. But of course, we did not join officially for another 2 years. September 2nd, National Blueberry Popsicle Day. I don't think I've had a blueberry popsicle, but it sounds pretty good. Also on September 2nd, the U.S. Treasury Department was established in 1789. So things were probably quite a monetary mess until they did establish a Treasury Department to keep track of the new country's finances. September 3rd, Skyscraper Day, where we acknowledge all the skyscrapers in our great cities around the country. It is also the birthday of the character Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam's image was first used on this day in 1813. You know, the man with the really tall stovepipe hat, and it's in red and white stripes. He has a long white beard, very curled, and he has a blue coat, and he usually has red and white striped pants. And he is a symbol for our country, the United States. On September 4th, we see that Google was first incorporated in 1998. And how did we ever get along before we had Google? I don't know. I really don't. Also, you may not know this, but we recognize September 4th as the birthday for Los Angeles City. More about that in just a few minutes. The 5th is National Cheese Pizza Day. Now, I know I've got a couple grandkids who don't like pepperoni pizza, so we always order them the cheese pizza. Also, the First Continental Congress first met on September 5th in 1774. And the 6th of September, Read a Book Day. And this is a great way to relax, and reading keeps your mind sharp. Don't ever stop reading. Also on September 6th, it was the second and possibly the third time that the Pilgrims set sail from Plymouth, England in 1620, which brought them to the New England states at a very, very rough winter time. They had left earlier originally, but that was a very late date to be leaving, but I don't think they had any choice. I think the authorities were after them for what they were called with their religious beliefs. They thought they were crazy. Let's go back. I have an article from the Orange County Register about the founding of Los Angeles. September 4th, 1781. And I believe that was 239 years ago. It's been celebrated for generations as the day Los Angeles was officially founded. But some historians suspect that there were people living there before then. Of course, we know there were Indians in that area, but the official town of Los Angeles, there were 11 families that founded the city's first Spanish colonial settlement. It is kind of a great area. We do know that in the summer of 1781, the Spanish governor Felipe de Neve, Neve, recruited people to hike from the San Gabriel mission to establish a pueblo in what would become Los Angeles. There were 44 settlers, 11 men, 11 women, and 22 children, along with soldiers, mission priests, and a few Native Americans. They created a pueblo along the Lost River and de Neve called the establishment a rather long name, El Pueblo de la Reina de los Angeles, or the town of Our Lady, the Queen of the Angels. Must have been a beautiful spot in those days. Of course, it wasn't too long before the name was shortened to Los Angeles. And every year on September 4th, there is a reenactment down there on Olivera Street by the church from the San Gabriel Mission to Olivera Street. It's a 9-mile walk, and there are people who reenact it wearing soldier costumes. I have a picture of it if you want to see it. This is from 1935. See if you can see this picture. And you can see there's soldiers, and there's Catholic priests, and the people dressed in the costumes of the day. And that's what it looked like. The birthday's been debated because the settlers did come to the area several months before. We think that the date September 4th was chosen because it was included on the first written verification of the Pueblo's establishment. Historian Harry Kelsey noted in 1976, when they were publishing things for the bicentennial of our country, that the first people came to San Gabriel and made the mission in June of that year, and then they left for Los Angeles shortly thereafter. El Pueblo de Los Angeles Historical Monument has a festival on August 27th, marking the city's birthday. And we don't hear too much about it in the paper anymore, but there are people who do remember it was the founding of what is now the second largest city in the entire United States. I think we passed Chicago, which slipped down to third place a few decades ago. So that's our coverage, excuse me, of the first week of September. Now we're going to move on, and I wanted to talk about COVID-19 heroes. The last few weeks I've been sharing stories of generous acts of kindness by people during the COVID-19 quarantine. Well, for the second time, we are beginning to relax a few of the rules, and we've allowed restaurants to open outdoors. We've allowed barbers and beauticians and nail salons to hold their business outdoors, and they're coming up with marvelous ways of doing it. When you drive down the street, if you see a restaurant that looks busy, it's because they've set up a canopy outside. Sometimes they set up fans, and they have outdoor carpeting. They bring their tables and chairs out every day, and they have lighting, electrical lights, you know, on the white little bulbs that are strung along the tops. And I've even seen them bring out little barriers with trellises and artificial plants, and they make it quite comfortable. It's very pleasant. It's very European. They've gotten special permission from the various cities, especially in Los Angeles and Orange County and San Diego County. And they set up in the parking lots, and they really have this border between the parking lot and the eating area. The only thing is, I do feel sorry for some of the waitresses who have to walk a lot further, balancing hot plates of sizzling food on their arms or on a great big tray. They bring this big tray and they have all these different dinners. They're bringing them out to people. But people want to be entertained, and eating out is one of the ways we do it. Now, the new restaurant etiquette is like this. You wear your mask over your nose, not just the mouth, over the nose and the mouth. And then when you get to the restaurant, they seat you because they check. If you don't have a mask, you're not let into the establishment at all, even outdoors. Then you go in, you sit down, you order your beverages. After they've brought the beverages, you can take your mask off, place it on the table or on your lap, eat your meal, and when you're done, and they're going to bring the check to you, you put your mask back on. Now, the waiter or waitress has to keep their mask on the whole time. And boy, did they scrub those tables down and the chairs in between customers. I don't know why we were never that clean before. I hope that habit sticks with us long after COVID-19 is a distant, unpleasant memory. So let's look at this. Perfect Delivery is the first story about a hero of the virus. Yanira Soriano, the stories about these people come from a Reader's Digest. It was the July-August 2020 issue, and these stories were compiled by Jeremy Greenfield, Caroline Fanning, and Kristen Warfield. And I'm sure you know a lot of stories that you could add to what's been going on. She had a severe case of pneumonia. She had COVID-19, this young lady, and she had a baby due in less than a month. She was very scared. You could see it in her eyes. It was a most horrible thing, said Gina Mirza, the doctor, the chief of neonatology at Southside Hospital in Bayshore, New York. Within hours, they had to put 36-year-old Yanira on a ventilator. The next day, they put her into a medically induced coma in preparation for a C-section, but not before she got a pledge from the staff. She really thought she was going to die. She just asked us to promise to try and save the baby. Oh, the sacrificial love of a mother. They did. Baby Walter was born happy and healthy this past April 3rd, but his mother's condition was still dire. She remained on the ventilator. Then 11 days after entering the hospital, she improved enough to breathe on her own. The elated staff, they were like surrogate godparents, could not contain their joy. When her husband, Walter Soriano Sr., arrived to collect his wife and introduce her to the baby she had not yet seen, care workers and balloons lined the long hospital hallways and watched as she was wheeled outside. Do you remember seeing that on the news? They cheered so loudly, you would not have known they were all wearing surgical masks. Oh, I'm so happy, Marshall said. It makes me feel as a doctor like everything I do is worth it. Hooray to our healthcare workers. Here's the second story, Heroes of the Virus, Part 3. Louis Galvan had just wrapped up a takeout order and was clearing off table 411 where a couple of his most loyal customers had finished eating their dinner. Like most restaurants, Irma's Southwest was hurting. It's a block from the Houston Astros Minute Maid Park, and they had just staffed up for the baseball season. More than 30 of his employees were counting on a big opening day that would never come. In the days before the governor closed his state's restaurants, Galvin was especially grateful for regulars, such as the ones at table 411. That night, they had ordered about $90 worth of food, but it was the tip they left behind that absolutely blew them away. Actually, it was two tips. One was $1,900 in cash. The other, written on the credit card receipt, was for $7,500. The couple also left a handwritten note on the receipt. Hold to pay your guys over the next few weeks. Signed, Ty. The owner said, I wasn't sure if we were going to stay open, but knowing you have somebody like that, a regular client pulling for you and your staff, we're going to try to keep going. He split the money equally among the employees, so everyone got about $300. What's more, Galvin could now pay the tip forward. If there's anyone who doesn't have food to eat or just needs a glass of water, they are welcome to come by, Galvin said. We will be here for our community. And how many of us are still keeping our favorite restaurant going? Whether we go in once a week and order takeout food, please leave them a generous tip. That does keep them and their employees going. Maybe we won't have to lay so many people off. I'm so glad they're open again outdoors and that business is booming. My last story about Herods of the COVID-19 virus for tonight is called Photographic Memories. What does it look like when no one can leave their house or facility? Photographer Nathaniel Edmonds and his sister, Tiffany Stoner, wanted to find out. They spent weeks driving their trucks around central Indiana to photograph families on their front doorsteps in their Sunday best or in their PJs. In the middle of a quarantine, it was hard not to despair, but they saw something inspiring. Here's what they said. Our grandparents remember the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Our parents remember where they were when JFK was assassinated. We remember the day the Twin Towers collapsed. Our children will remember the pandemic that led to a global quarantine. What do these have in common? The people can reconnect in the midst of a crisis. Families have come together. They have loved more. We have appreciated more. We have found our way back to simplicity and togetherness by tragedy. There's nothing glamorous, whether we're in our pajamas or comfy clothing, showered or unshowered, holding a newspaper, eating a piece of toast. We hold tight to the people we love the very most. So that makes all of us heroes as we love and show acts of kindness to those around us, whether it's someone staying in the room next to you or a roommate or somebody you can call on the phone or even drop a note of encouragement. We all need it, and we all need to remember that. Okay, well, we're halfway through. I'm moving along. I have another one here. This is from another Reader's Digest. They have interesting articles. This one's actually about 3 years old, but I found it and I thought, we can use this health tip. You know, it's been pretty hot the last 3 weeks, up in the early or late, I should say, upper 90s, early 100s. And, you know, we have to think about staying hydrated. But hydration is not just vital when it's hot. You have to drink enough every day, and then your whole body will benefit, including your brain. So here's water. And I got my glass of water. To your health, okay? You know, if you've ever had the gut-wrenching pain of a kidney stone, your doctor probably handed you a very surprising prescription. Stones often form when urine does not have enough fluid in it to dissolve calcium and other substances the body regularly processes. When the body tries to move them along the conveyor belt, they get stuck, and that can hurt. They may prescribe medication to keep stones from forming, but for many people, drinking enough water is the first line of defense. Water is your medicine. Consider the research behind it. Study after study shows that drinking enough water can fend off problems from head to toe. How much water depends on different factors. Your weight, the hot climate where we live, Southern California, and how often do you exercise and take a stroll down the hallways. The old rule of thumb of 8-ounce glasses a day is not a bad place to start. But the Institute of Medicine in Harbor City, California, says that we need more because we live in a warmer climate. The clearest sign you're well hydrated is pale yellow urine. If it's dark yellow, you need more water. An even better gauge may be how we feel overall. It can be good for your mind and your body. Number one, you will have lots more energy. Water keeps up a steady flow of nutrients into our cells, which boosts your energy. When you're dehydrated, cells membranes hamper the flow. It affects your physical and mental performance and can make you feel sluggish. So drink lots of water. You can work up a sweat. A damp forehead during physical activity shows your body's doing its normal job of maintaining a normal temperature, and you need water to do that. You might lose weight. Oh, goody, that one is for me. A new study from the University of Illinois involving more than 18,000 adults found that when people increase their daily water intake by 1 to 3 8-ounce cups, they ate less. The water was filling. Their food intake dropped by as much as 200 calories a day. Oh, goody. Give me a sip right now. The next tip says your memory may improve. Did you know our brains are hugely dependent on fluid? All those synapses and neurons need liquid to keep firing properly. They have found that memory and attention improve in children after they take a drink of water. It's a little bit less clear on whether this pattern holds true for adults, but they think that it probably does. The next one, your skin will glow. Skin is at least 30% water. So if your skin cells don't get the water they need, they start to wither and shrink. But if you do drink enough water, your skin cells will plump up and minimize any wrinkles. Better than an expensive wrinkle cream is drinking more water. Who knew? Next one, you're more easily going to kick cold symptoms. There's a reason your doctor tells you to drink more when you're coming down with something. Your body has to launch an attack against the germs when you're sick. For instance, a runny nose is flushing out pathogens. That means your cells need more fluid to keep up with the demands. It also loosens mucus and keeps your nose and throat moist. Also, you'll be more regular, less risk of constipation. You'll be in a better mood. When women in a study from the University of Connecticut lost just 1% of their body mass through sweat and did not drink enough water to replace it, their moods quickly turned sour, and they were more likely to experience headaches and fatigue. Well, I think we've known for a while that headaches and fatigue, when you're out walking and it's a hot day, you need to drink more water. You'll feel stronger when you work out, even doing chair exercises. Water helps your muscles keep the right balance of electrolytes, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Without water, you could start getting muscle cramps. Research shows that even low levels of dehydration may impair your physical performance. Now, there are some tricks to try if you need to be getting more water. Set an alert on your phone to remind you to drink. Refrigerate the water, and you will more likely drink water if you put ice cubes in it or if it's cold. They found that. And when you sit down for a meal, drink a glass before you eat anything. Oh boy, do I forget that one. If you get tired of good old-fashioned H2O, consider using sparkling water or flavored water, but stay clear of tonic water because that adds sodium and sugar. Herbal teas, milk, and sports drinks can help you stay hydrated as long as they're not too caffeinated or sugary. My brother told me the other day, oh, I'm going to drink lots more coffee to get my water take up. Well, actually, the coffee will pull water from your surrounding tissues. And soda does that too. It pulls water to dilute the concentrated sugar in soda. So if you can stick more to water, including the flavored or sparkling waters, that is a very good thing to remember. Who knew? Oh my gosh, we're learning new things every week in this class, and I hope you're enjoying it. The last thing I wanted to do for today, we're coming on up to the birthday, not only of Los Angeles City, and I guess you could say the county, but our state's birthday, which is September 9th. So I wanted to give you a few strange, fun, and interesting facts about California. First of all, Mount Whitney, which is in our state, is the highest peak in the 48 lower states. But the highest and the lowest points are both within 100 miles of each other. Mount Whitney is 14,495 feet. Badwater in Death Valley is 282 feet below sea level. And they're very close to each other, really. Alpine County, south of Lake Tahoe, is the 8th smallest of California's 58 counties. It has no high schools, no ATMs, no dentists, no banks, and no traffic lights. It's also the only county in the state that does not grow any agricultural products. San Bernardino County is the largest county in the entire United States. You know, we know that California is a big state, but San Bernardino County is the largest county in the whole country. San Francisco Bay is considered the world's largest landlocked harbor. And California State is bigger than 85 of the smallest nations in the world. You know, the area around Geyserville, you ever driven up the 99 highway? Just north of San Francisco in Geyserville is the largest geothermal area in the world. Wow. Couple more bragging rights for Californians. Mount Shasta, 14,162 feet, about 300 feet shorter than Mount Whitney. Mount Shasta is the tallest volcano in California and the second highest in America. Portions of Mount Lassen in Northern California still resemble an active volcano because it has boiling mud pots, hot springs, and steam rising from the side of the mountain. Mount Lassen last erupted less than 100 years ago and had a 7-mile-high plume of ash. There's no signs it's going to be erupting anytime soon. Thank goodness. You know, California has also the most diverse environment on the planet. In the middle of summer, Point Reyes is the coolest place in the continental United States, while Death Valley is known as the hottest, driest place in the United States. Temperatures there are consistently over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and last week they topped 130 degrees one day. In 1925, a giant sequoia tree in the Sequoia National Forest, no, actually, sorry, it was Kings Canyon National Park, was honored as the nation's national Christmas tree. That was in 1925. The tree now is over 300 feet in height. General Sherman is the name of a tree in Sequoia National Park. It is a 3,500-year-old sequoia tree. The tree trunk is 102 feet. You would have to get a lot of friends holding your arms out as wide as you could and holding hands. I remember a group we were with, a square dance club. There were 30 of us, and we could barely make it all the way around one of those giant sequoia trees at the base of the tree. We had to call a couple strangers to come and join us to hold hands all around that tree. Now, the redwood is the official state tree of California. Many of the giant redwoods in Sequoia National Park are more than 2,000 years old. Now, I have a picture here that I wanted to show you. Of course, the redwood is the world's tallest tree, and it grows up to 370 feet tall. Look at that picture. Isn't that amazing? Look how small these people look. They're so small. Oh my goodness. Well, that's it for the fun facts about California. Next week, I'm going to tell you about some of the heroes among the pioneers. You remember that old TV program that Ronald Reagan did when he was still an actor called Death Valley Days? And he gave us lots of true stories. Well, can't wait till next week. I'll see you later, guys. Have a good rest of your week. Stay cool, and most of all, stay safe.